Hi friends! On this installment of Cooking with the Diva, I am going to prepare perhaps my favorite quick cooker meal. It's creamy cheddar cheese broccoli risotto. This is a great dish which can be a base for just about any protein you like. Personally, I like to add grilled chicken to it. I'm making this dish tonight, and after I make this dish, while it sits in the pot and stays nice and hot and gets yummy and all the flavors get happy and the cheese gets all melty, I'm going to be steaming lobsters, and I'm putting lobster in this dish. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to try something new with the camera angle. I am going to show you exactly what's going on in the pot as I cook. So, here we go. Let's get cooking. This is the inside of my quick cooker. I hope you all can get a good view. Now, I am going to turn the wheel of fun to sear. And I'm going to let the oil, I put a little bit of olive oil in there. The recipe I'm using calls for 2 tablespoons. I could probably use a little more than what I did. So, just going to let that oil heat up. We'll start to hear it talking to us very soon. And while that's heating up, I'm going to chop my onions. The recipe calls for 1 medium onion chopped. I don't have 1 medium onion. I have 2 small ones. So that's what's going in the dish. I know I'm supposed to wait for that oil to heat up, but it's going to heat up in no time, and I want everything in the pot. Just a few touches of this food chopper, and these onions are looking good. And I am not in tears while I'm chopping. 6. One more for good measure on that one. Gonna get them coated. Oh, you know what? These little guys are not small enough. I'm gonna take them right out and chop them up a little bit more with this last piece of onion. And there they go, into the pot. And in a moment, we are going to have this dish start talking to us. So I'm not going to put the garlic in just yet. I'm going to wait until this starts to sizzle. Now, that's another feature for me that makes this quick cooker so special. It really is a one-pot device, which is cool to the touch. So as the pot heats up and will allow me to saute these vegetables, well, I'm supposed to put pepper in it, but I'm not putting peppers in it because I don't want peppers in this dish. I want it to be just nice and clean and highlight the broccoli. So, can you hear that? All right, so these onions are starting to saute. In no time, this thing heats up and is going to start to sear our food. And as it gets super hot, like I said, the outside of this machine is cool to the touch. I can pick it up and move it around, and what's going on the inside is absolutely screaming hot, especially when it comes to steam. So these aren't going to saute for very long. I'm going to just salt them. This is a combination of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. It's my house seasoning. It's Paula Deen's, I think it's Paula Deen's recipe. It's a cup of salt with a 1/4 cup of black pepper and a 1/4 cup of garlic powder, all mixed together. And my husband likes to call it Stina's Make Everything Better seasoning. It's really delicious. So I'm going to also add 2 cloves of fresh garlic using my absolute all-time favorite Pampered Chef tool, the garlic press. I mean, anybody who's ever seen Pampered Chef knows you just put the clove of garlic in there, with the skin and all. It comes right out one side. You peel the skin out of the inside of this apparatus. Look, isn't that delicious looking? Oh, it's starting to smell really amazing up in here. I'm gonna put this other clove in there. It's nice and fragrant. And there's never a need to cook with dehydrated or jarred garlic when you have this fantastic garlic press in your kitchen. It's great. So I'm gonna just put this aside, let those flavors get happy, and get ready for the next addition to the pot, which is going to be a cup of arborio rice. Well, videos are great, but man, I sure wish you could smell this. You see the onions are starting to get nice and golden. They're looking good. And we have 1 cup of arborio rice, which we're going to just heat up here with the onions. Now, like I said, I left out the bell pepper, but you could put 1 medium red bell pepper in here, seeded, chopped, and it would add a nice something. But for me, I just want a simpler dish today. So I never like to follow the recipe exactly as written. I'm always a rule breaker. And that's just, you know, it just works. So that's going to stay in the heat for just a couple minutes. It helps the rice start cooking. And I think you can see that looks about right. That looks about right. So I'm going to stop the searing process at this point and add in the broth. Okay, just hit cancel. I'm using homemade broth. I'm sure well, if you've watched any of my videos, you know how I feel about homemade broth, bone broth, veggie broth. I always have some in the house. This recipe calls for 3 cups of broth. This happens to be veggie stock that's homemade. The difference between the bone broth and the veggie broth is, well, you're not putting beef bones or turkey bones or carcass or anything like that. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna add it all in. Why not? You just put the vegetables in the pot. You put them in with, you just cover them in water. I'm using my crock pot. Actually, I've got my crock pot steeping right now with some broth. But you can use any veggies in the house. Carrots, celery, onions are a must. You could put peppers, you could put spinach, broccoli, sweet potatoes, butternut squash. You just put them in your crock pot with some garlic, bay leaves, parsley, some fresh herbs, and let it steep. So the bone broth I like to steep for 24 hours, but the veggie broth is really done maybe 10 hours, 12 hours at the most, but the 8 to 10 hours is really enough for that. So that's it. I am done with this dish for now. I want all those good grains in there. I'm going to lock the lid. And then I'm going to set, here I'll show you. I'm going to set the cook time on the white rice setting, which is a preset cook time. So it's going to take probably about 20 minutes for it to come to steam, and then it's going to cook for 4 minutes, and then we will take the next step. So I'm going to hit play and get that going, and on to the next step. And here is the risotto. The steam released. I opened the lid, and I'm just gonna point this towards you so you can have a better look at what this looks like. I mean, it already looks just so creamy. It smells super aromatic and fragrant, and we're ready for the next step. I promised broccoli, I promised cheddar. All we have right now is the risotto. So, what happens next? I'm turning this back on to sear. We're gonna let this heat back up from the bottom, and we're going to add in, at this point, our broccoli, which is just raw broccoli. It's 2 cups that I chopped into florets while the risotto was cooking. And I'm going to stir that in first so that can start to heat up. Yeah, it's not exactly bite-sized pieces, but I don't mind it. I like to experience the broccoli for what it is. And it will heat up and it will cook just enough and then be al dente, which is very pleasing to my palate. I don't like mushy vegetables. Now, Yep, I'm hearing it start to sizzle. So I'm also going to add 2 ounces of cream cheese. You could use the low-fat version, but why? I mean, for a couple ounces of cream cheese, enjoy yourself. You only live once. Use the good butter. Use the full-fat dairy. When you get low-fat dairy, look at the ingredients. You'll notice that there's a lot of things added to what you're getting. You don't want that. You don't need that in your life. Just use the good stuff. Now, I see the broccoli is starting to become beautifully green, and the cream cheese is blended in. And now I'm going to add some sharp cheddar cheese, which I grated while we were waiting for this to cook. And that's going to melt down in there too. So I'll let you see. And oh yes, Duncan. Duncan, of course, is at my feet. My favorite and most loyal helper in the kitchen. He certainly can't taste everything I cook, but he's a great cheerleader, I'll tell you that much. That is looking really good. And the cheese is just, I mean, if that is any evidence at all as to how hot it is down in this pot, the cheese is like melted instantly. This is looking and smelling great. I'm just gonna leave it on heat for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna keep stirring it though, because I don't want it to burn on the bottom. I mean, I do love burnt ends, but I don't want this to burn. I want it to just be perfect. So we'll keep stirring.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, buddy.
This looks really, really good.
Yeah, it's almost ready too.
Oh, you're filming. Hey guys. This looks like super creamy, but super good. You can also see like my lips right now, so.
Go get a bowl. And there it is. I'll look right into that beautiful quick cooker at the creamy cheddar cheesy broccoli risotto. It's magnificent and it smells wonderful, and I'm gonna make myself a bowl. I'll see you all again real soon. Thanks for joining me today.